Hey, Mr. Ghost Sponge here. So we're about to do another educational video, and at first I'm going to talk a little bit about why I think that maybe science was being repressed during the late 19th century, but this video is really about Rudolph Claudius. But what I want to touch base on is something that made me feel like I wanted to die. I couldn't believe that there was almost a democracy before the monarchy of Russia fell, and all because someone who was part of the people's will, which was the faction of who was responsible for the revolution during the time, and it was being led by this rocketeer who had a death sentence, and he was in prison as he developed the first advances in rocketeer propulsion. And the next thing you know, the assassination of Caesar Alexander II came ablaze out of the sky and was smashed his chariot of fire into pieces. Now, Alexander II is a very historical figure, and considering how the monarchy fell, it is so tragic, and to me it feels like we need to ramify, be more forgiving, and respect what the empire would have been today if it were not for the people's will that made the entire world just a little bit more bitter. So that is what we're talking about. I just wanted to elaborate. I mean, it's not what we're talking about, but I wanted to elaborate on why I actually believe the science was being repressed. But anyway, this little video is more about a man named Rudolph Claudius. And during the repression, he reinvented himself, and he must have thought himself pretty poignant during all this confusion as he invents the second law of thermodynamics. But it is something about the way he discloses. It is like a ungodly heathen audaciously saying, and I quote, "I believe that no form of energy other than fire is conceivable, and although energy may be perceived quantitatively, it deteriorates in quality." When I first read this, I thought it was just a little absurd, but really there is a lot going on here, and I want to explain. First, let's look at the word energy, because the word is a lot more possessive than, let's say, another word like element. However, if he would have chosen to use the word element, I'm sure people would have thought he was trying to contradict the first law of thermodynamics, which is pretty wild. The first law would state that any kind of energy, it cannot be destroyed, only transformed or diverted into other elements we don't understand yet, such as time or sound and other resonations. But they describe the first law in universal terms, which helps us comprehend just how the universe coexists with humans' ability to refine resources. In retrospect, all energy in the universe exists in a state that cannot be destroyed. I mean, it is like littered with gold and quartz crystals. The first and second law coexist to give us this understanding that even if we tried to use up all the resources, it would be impossible because the energy still exists in another form. Although the aspect of what Claudius says that makes his statement so provocative, understand his disclosure is way different than what I just said. It would have had to frustrate what was going on in the world. He just worded it, the way he worded it sounded like he was contradicting the first law by saying energy could deteriorate. But despite his formal disclosure, what he understood about thermodynamics is much more impressive. And maybe he dressed it up because he knew already that someone was going to get angry anyway, particularly uneducated people from the industry that were making a living off mining, coal, and steam engines, locomotives. Which is what I wanted to add to my previous topic. Oh, I want to add something to Alexander II. Also, he was a revolutionary in his own right, and the reason he was assassinated was because people thought the people's will didn't believe that he was doing enough. But at the time, the whole world was, going through this locomotive. He was trying to build a transcontinental highway, and even though he freed, so many serfs, I'm not trying to say that Alexander was not doing enough, but considering the modern agenda for the people, I think we can understand why people were so obsessed with the industry and the pure of raw elements, pure, coal and such things. They do not deteriorate. And this other guy, while this guy's getting assassinated, we have RC over here. He say that coal and, fire, that, these things do not deteriorate. So for now, RC comes out to say something so fundamental, which was almost an upset considering how prosaic the first law of thermodynamics is. He just comes out and lets the whole world know, as he says, sorry, you guys, but we all know fire can dissipate if it is enclosed with an environment such as the locomotive. So one day very soon your lives will have to be adjusted. That is probably the way he should have put it, and the first and second laws do work in tandem with the concept because thermodynamics today is used for any type of energy related to encasements, or if you still attach the first law, we can call it environments for electromagnetism, kinetic, or even pure chemical or combustible fortitude. There, we got it. So thermodynamics helps us understand a lot of things. I did miss a few things, how we use it to understand that there is an absolute zero when it comes to temperature cooling, which, if I'm not confused, I think we recently just passed the temperature for what we thought was pure 0 degrees, and that is a good thing because we are so close to building quantum computers. And if you were interested in anything I said, quantum computers is a very painstaking career, all based on around the math, to help keep things cool. All the little supercomputers that it has hanging from it like a chandelier. They do that in absolute 0. If you want to do the math, thermodynamics would be very conceivable. Keep the fire hot, as they say in Krampus. Anyway, y'all got it going on, man. I'll see you around. I will even give you a post if you like or subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks a lot.